What's good, YouTube? Welcome back. Today it's the LazyDaze Channel and we're back at it again with some more history reaction for you guys today. And we have some more history marsh content for you, and it is the Hannibal series, and it is part 14, the Battle of Silva Litana, 216 BC. I'm really looking forward to finding out what we have in store in this episode. It's
Man, like Hannibal.
Great journey so far. Hannibal.
Insane.
What an ambushing general he is.
Oh, he's got so many he's got defeats. Such intelligence inside for conquering a battlefield in the least possible circumstances for win.
It is really interesting. We're really enjoying the journey over here on this channel. If you guys haven't already, head over to History Marsh's channel. A link is in the description box down below. If you guys are enjoying our reaction, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. But we are just going to jump straight into this one.
Let's do this.
On August 2nd, 216 BC, Hannibal won his greatest victory near the town of Cannae in southern Italy. By day's end, his outnumbered mercenaries had destroyed the majority of the largest army Rome had ever put to field, marking this as one of the bloodiest military encounters ever fought.
This guy needs to do like a lecture book or something.
Cannae became the benchmark by which subsequent defeats were measured. It would not be surpassed for another 600 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a long time.
He really cleaned up.
The dazed survivors of the Roman army dispersed. Varro resurfaced in Venusia, in charge of as little as 70 horsemen who escaped the pursuing Numidians. In Canusium, a certain 19-year-old tribune by the name of Publius Scipio, together with 3 other tribunes, gathered a larger group of some 3,000 men. Despite barely escaping the carnage, the young tribune was notable for inspiring the troops, going as far as threatening to kill those who spoke about fleeing, and forcing the men to take an oath never to betray Rome. In the days that followed, up to 10,000 survivors would converge on Canusium, and Varro would resume command.
So 19-year-old is getting all of this,
what would Hannibal do now?
I want to see if Scipio could have done that. If he would have taken control.
Well, who knows? Who knows what happens? Maybe the Vargo dies.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point.
We still don't know.
I'd like to see if Scipio could be good in command.
Yeah.
A day after the battle, the Carthaginians were still plundering the 2 enemy camps, taking 19,300 prisoners. Hannibal saw to the burial of his fallen troops and gave Paulus a proper burial.
Okay, respectful.
But the dead Roman soldiers were left to rot in the sun.
50,000.
While more than 50,000 men lay dead or dying in the plain below,
still dying,
the Carthaginian leadership met at a villa in Cannae.
Just quick, I really like the animation style. Yeah. He's changed it slightly in this episode,
I like that.
Yeah.
I like how it's coming out of the war zone, and I like it how he's actually given his men the burials, and he's given
the commander,
like a proper burial as well.
But obviously, if you can't go through 50,000 men,
these are just foot soldiers.
Or even if not, if you've got commanders underneath and they're at the right bottom and stuff like that, because it was an encircle movement.
Yeah, true.
They all got crushed. So it's just too.
But I guess if he would have found them, he would have.
Yeah, if they were at the top,
Visibly exhausted, they were in disagreement. Hannibal and some of his officers wanted to rest the army and prepare for the campaign in southern Italy.
Makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Maharbal, a prominent cavalry commander, was among those who wanted to march on Rome without delay, proclaiming, perhaps enthusiastically, that he would lead the Numidians to the capital in 5 days. He protested to Hannibal, "Truly the gods do not give everything to the same man. You know how to win a victory, Hannibal, but you do not know how to use one."
Okay.
I do kind of understand it. So I might be wrong, but just quickly, obviously, that was a large force that the Romans had. right? So that's pretty much all of the Romans' population. There's nothing left. So at this point, you've got to march, right?
Yep.
Surely?
I understand the point and the reasoning to want to march, but at the same time, he's head of cavalry. So all he's got to do is rest up his horses, really, because his men are sitting on horseback and they're going to be...
So, yeah, I do see what you're saying.
But the rest of his army, they've just been swinging axes for like a full day. They've been hacking off heads,
Aren't you
limbs.
just going to siege on Rome? And spend a few days to
You've
rest
still
there?
got quite a while to walk, though. That's the problem. I'd rest up for a day or two where I was, or just start moving them a bit. And then rest up more, scavenge, rest up, scavenge, and then slowly but surely make my way over there, but don't take too much time.
Yeah, it all depends on how long Hannibal wants to rest. I definitely think a day's rest is all I would do.
Yeah, and how long can he get his men back in?
Well, not even. I think I'd go, look, rest up, but midnight, we're going.
Yeah,
that's something like I would do. I'd be like, right, rest up, eat, but midnight,
move at the night time.
Yeah.
Whether or not these words were truly spoken, the reality was that Rome was 400 kilometers away. Another long march after a grueling campaign had just ended would be disastrous. Furthermore, the Senate adopted emergency measures to raise 4 legions in the coming weeks.
They still have
criminals, slaves, and boys as young as 16 or 17 were conscripted. While insufficient for a pitched battle, these troops would be enough to man the walls of Rome.
I just clocked. Go back a few seconds. I just clocked what that read. The recalled troops intended for Sicily, the 17-year-old conscripts, purchased slaves from citizens, criminals and debt pardons, temple stripes of war trophies to equip recruits,
rituals held to bolster morale,
and then human sacrifices
performed. I didn't know it's that.
Yeah, what was
because what it is what you're forgetting is
it like a sacrifice to the gods type thing?
We're in BC. This is before Jesus, so they're a pagan religion.
Yeah, so it's sacrificing
they're very similar
to a god.
Yeah. Because they're very. I believe at this point, I might be wrong, but they have very similar gods to the Greek gods.
And was it like the Aztecs, where they would sacrifice someone, they'd choose someone to get sacrificed?
But it's like the Vikings. You know, the Vikings would do human sacrifices. They basically they at this point in the Roman Republic, I'm 90% sure that Christianity isn't really sort of mainly worshipped. It is the pagan gods. So I don't know if there's differences between the Greeks and the Roman gods, but they're very similar because they're part of the same sort of culture.
Right. Okay.
All right. So you know, like Zeus and all that lot.
Yeah.
Those types of gods, but I think it's Hercules. That's Roman. I'm 90% sure Hercules is Roman.
Hercules was Greek.
Yeah, he is Greek. Now I think about it. What's the Roman ones? Because they're very similar.
Alexander the Great.
No, they're very similar. But I'm being silly at the same time. Anyway, back to the video.
Yeah. Gates guarded to prevent people from fleeing Rome. And public mourning forbidden to contain panic. Fair play.
These troops would be enough to man the walls of Rome. Praetor Marcus Claudius Marcellus, previously tasked with reinforcing Sicily, was now sent to bolster the confidence of allies in Campania and wait for the wreck of the army of Cannae to join him. If he were to march on Rome, Hannibal would be placing himself between 2 Roman armies and would need to fend off relief forces that the Senate would muster over the coming months. To overcome the enemy's vast manpower, Hannibal had hoped for reinforcements from Iberia, but thus far the Scipio brothers had kept Hasdrubal at bay. Worse, Carthaginian Senate's planning and logistics left much to be desired. Troops in Spain and Italy were mostly paid by the Barcid family Silva. Very little financial support came from Carthage itself thus far. This disjointed system was detrimental to the war effort and in stark contrast to the better organized Roman Senate that strived to secure funding and logistical support for its army and navy in all theaters. So far, the only attempt to supply Hannibal was a fleet of 70 ships that roamed the waters of northern Italy in the aftermath of the Battle of Trasimene in 217. But lack of coordination prevented them from making contact, and many of these ships had since been captured near the port of Cosa. Confronted by these problems, Hannibal knew that despite his ability to outwit and surprise his opponents, his army would not endure the many corrosive years in the field without reinforcements and logistical support. the decision not to march on Rome was sound.
Okay.
While the situation in southern Italy remained uncertain, another Roman army advanced north to punish the tribes of Cisalpine Gaul for siding with Hannibal. The expedition was launched just days after the main army went on its way to Cannae, as part of the Senate's plan to destroy all enemies in the Italian peninsula in one massive counterattack.
Wonder how these.
Commanded by Lucius Postumius Albinus, the Romans marched through the Silva Litana forest, some 120 kilometers northwest of Ariminum. Albinus was a Roman politician and a veteran general. By now a man in his late 50s, he spent the last 10 years in retirement, but was recalled into service during this time of crisis.
I'd retire at 40.
He was given 2 legions and had recruited allied troops, mustering a 25,000-strong army. With reports of enemy presence further north, Albinus expected to confront the tribesmen in the Po Valley. But the main Boii force was much closer. They secured the perimeter along the enemy's line of march.
I just clocked.
The Gauls had cut into the trees in such a way that they would remain standing without assistance, but would topple over if given a slight shove.
That's genius.
As the column advanced further along the woodland road, the tribesmen pushed the trees onto the enemy. The trees fell on each other and crashed onto the road from both sides, killing Roman soldiers and horses and destroying equipment. Most of Albinus's men died under the weight of the tree trunks and thick branches.
Shit.
The Boii waiting in the forest moved in on the panicked survivors.
Holy shit.
Roman resistance was fiercest in the vanguard, but elsewhere the encounter became a one-sided slaughter. Albinus fought to avoid capture, but was killed and decapitated. According to legend, his head was
I thought this guy was going to be a key player.
Yeah, man. He's a veteran general, but retired at 40. Back in the game after 10 years.
Some business.
He's about to slap up somebody. No.
Just gets ambushed and fucking wrecked.
Got
These boys saw what Hannibal was doing and was like, you know what? You got some good ideas, Hannibal. I'm going to take those and use them against my ops, you know?
Oh, Jesus.
Fucking hell, that's jokes. That's so funny.
They decapitated the fuck
I know, because they're goals. They want heads for trophies, don't they? That's so funny.
He was killed and decapitated. According to legend, his head was later taken to a Boii sacred temple, where the skin was scraped off and the bare skull was covered with gold. It was used as a cup for drinking by the tribe's high priest. A contingent of Roman veterans at the head of the column tried to escape across a river, but were captured by the Boii, who had already taken the bridge over it. Very few Roman prisoners were taken. The Boii also took a vast amount of loot, with the Roman goods handily concentrated along the forest roads. Of the 25,000 Romans, only 10 men survived the battle.
10! Nah, pause that, bruv. Oh my God, my man has just walked up there with 25,000, yeah? And they've just gone fucking hi-ho, and they've just started lopping them.
Mate.
Less than 10.
Less than 10. Well, you think you can't trap. You've like got tree trunks all around you and then men just either side. You're fucked. You're fucked.
What an actual horrific sight that would have been.
Because as soon as those trees have started falling,
That's it, you're
that's
done.
it.
You're done.
That's it.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I don't think the guys in
Oh my God.
because literally they were wondering how the guys in Cannae were doing. Not much better than you.
Not much better than you, bruv. One of them's probably still got their head.
No, I think they had about 10,000. They had 10,000 left. These guys had 10. Wow, that's outrageous.
That's outrageous, but I wonder what happened to his skull, man. Like in the end of it, if they ever, like, if it got destroyed or whatever, if they've got it in a relic somewhere.
Maybe, yeah. Let us know in the comments box. That's outrageous.
Reports of the annihilation in Silva Litana came mere days after the catastrophe at Cannae. A panic hit the city of Rome. The Senate ordered aediles to patrol the streets, open shops, and disperse any sign of defeatism. However, all offensive operations against the Gauls were suspended indefinitely. Varro was now sent to levy new troops for the defense of Picenum and Etruria, where he would remain in command of up to 2 legions and an equal number of allied troops for several years.
I want to find out how this guy does.
Across the Mediterranean, in Iberia, the Romans fared better. Hasdrubal Barca managed to reorganize his forces after the defeat at the Ebro in 217. And after receiving a contingent of 4,000 infantry and 1,000 cavalry from Africa, he decided to close the distance against the Scipio brothers.
Okay.
But some of the officers that he punished and imprisoned for cowardice after the Ebro debacle had escaped back to their homes among the Tertessian people. They instigated a revolt and captured the city of Asqua, which held a large Carthaginian depot for grain and other supplies.
He's got a big army.
Reluctantly, Hasdrubal had to move south and abandon plans to advance across the Ebro in 216. All reports suggested that the uprising had the potential for spreading beyond the Tartessi territory. This would destabilize Carthaginian rule in Iberia, damage Hasdrubal's supply lines, and endanger the safety of the rich copper and silver mines that were vital for the war effort. Hasdrubal met Calbo in battle and made short work of the rebel army, despite their large numbers. Around this time, he received news of the victory at Cannae and was ordered by the Carthaginian Senate to march his army to Italy as soon as he could. But he was now too far south, and his army needed rest. Most he could do is reach the Ebro River before the onset of winter, but it was too late to campaign against the Romans. For the older Scipios,
lucky for the Romans,
this was a window of opportunity they would not miss. Previously, except for a brief expedition south of the Ebro, they largely stayed north of the river, weary of Hasdrubal's generalship and the vast resources he had at his disposal.
Okay, so they were smart.
Taking advantage of the Carthaginian general's absence, the Scipios negotiated an alliance with some of the Celtiberian tribes. In addition, they enlisted many mercenaries from their ranks and began preparations to push south across the Ebro next spring. Back in southern Italy, a Macedonian delegation was heading towards the Italian coast. Upon hearing of Hannibal's victory at Cannae, Philip V of Macedon wanted to propose an alliance with the Carthaginian general. His ambassadors joined Hannibal at his camp. The negotiations would drag on until next summer. And the situation in Italy would change dramatically over the coming months.
Over the winter. I wonder what happens. Holy shit. I am so interested. Oh, he's changed the footnotes.
Okay.
Rome remembered the massacre at Silva Litana after the Second Punic War ended. Their return to the subdue Causpine goal, but the Boii in particular were targeted. Their population was decimated and many were forced to emigrate to Bohemia. Their territory in Italy was divided between a large number of Italic colonists. Yeah, that's the one.
The determination of the Roman people under the leadership of the Senate to continue the war in spite of the catastrophe at Cannae was a source of immense pride to later generations of Romans. The Roman aristocrats justified the right to rule by the obligation of the members to lead in war.
And then, that's just.
I can't. So they were decimated, pretty much.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So the goals were absolutely decimated.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
Bro, that's mad.
That's
mad.
That's mad.
tactics
So much happened
used-
in that episode as well.
The tactics used back then seem to be just devastating.
Yeah. That's
Devastating.
free. That's
If we're ever in World War III, in a forest and a pathway like that, bro, we're using that tactic 100%.
absolutely insane. It would work. It would stop
100%.
tanks. It would stop tanks. All the
Crush
vehicles.
the tanks, crush the military, and then we'll just ambush them.
Well, not crush them, but you're just stopping the footpath. Like they can't. You're stopping the supply
Use
line
multiple
as well.
tree lines, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolute
insane.
destruction. That was mad. That
I
one, bro.
really enjoyed that episode. Clearly, Jack did. If you guys enjoyed our reaction to it, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. But we will catch you in the next video.
See you in a bit.